Think positive.
Welcome back to the GHOUL-AMBROSE podcast, GA for short. I'm your host, Prince. This is a space for inner work, self-improvement, self-discovery, mindset, accountability, integrity, reflection, and personal development. This podcast is built for growth, for honesty, and for becoming a better version of yourself one day at a time. New episodes drop every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Today's episode is called Reset. Sometimes life doesn't slowly change. Sometimes it resets. Everything that was familiar, gone. The routine, gone. The direction you thought you were on, suddenly unclear. And when that happens, people panic. They think something went wrong, but sometimes a blank space isn't a problem. Sometimes it's the start of something new. The moment when everything looks empty, but it's actually wide open. There's something uncomfortable about starting from a blank state. Most people hate it. No clear direction, no clear outcome, just space. Nothing filled in yet. And when people see that kind of space in their life, they immediately try to fix it. They rush to fill it with something, anything, just so it doesn't feel empty. But empty isn't always bad. Sometimes empty is necessary. Think about a room. When a room is completely full, there's no room to change anything. Everything is already placed. Every corner already taken. If you want something new in that room, something else has to go. Something has to move. Something has to be cleared. And that's what life does sometimes. It clears space, not to punish you, but to make room. When that clearing happens, it doesn't always feel good. It feels confusing. It feels uncertain. Because suddenly the structure you were used to isn't there anymore. The plan you thought you had, gone. The direction you thought you were moving is different now. And that moment can feel like you're starting over. But starting over isn't always a step backward. Sometimes it's a reset. A chance to rebuild something stronger, something clearer, something that actually fits who you are now. A lot of people think life changes slowly. And sometimes it does. But sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes things change in a matter of days. One decision, one conversation, one opportunity, one moment, and suddenly everything looks different. The direction shifts, the path changes, and the life you thought you were building starts turning into something new. Those fast changes only work if you're ready to move with them, if you're open to them. Because if you're too attached to the old version of things, you'll fight the change. You'll try to force things back to how they used to be. But life doesn't always move backwards. Sometimes it clears things out so something better can take its place. That's where the blank state becomes powerful. Because when the space is open, you get to decide what fills it. Not by accident, not by pressure, but by intention. You get to place things where they belong. You get to decide what stays and what doesn't. You get to build with more awareness. Most people never get that chance. They move from one situation to another without stopping, without clearing anything, without thinking about what actually fits their life. But when everything resets, you're forced to look at things differently. You're forced to ask real questions. What actually matters? What direction do I want to go in? What should I be building? That's the moment where real growth can happen. Not when everything is comfortable. Not when everything is already working. But when the space is open again. Because open space gives you option. It gives you room to move. Room to think. Room to rebuild. Sometimes that reset is exactly what was needed. Even if it didn't feel like it at first. Even if it looked like things were falling apart. Because sometimes things have to fall out of place before the right things can take their place. Life doesn't always warn you when a shift is coming. Sometimes it just happens. And you wake up realizing things aren't the same anymore. But that moment doesn't have to be negative. It can be the start of something better, something more aligned, something more real. Sometimes the change doesn't happen around you first. It happens in you. Your thinking changes. Your perspective becomes different. You begin to see things in a way you didn't before. And at first, nothing on the outside looks different. Your environment is the same. Your routine is the same. Life still looks familiar. But inside, something has already begun. And eventually, what started in you begins to show up in the world around you. That's usually a sign when you start to notice it. When things that once felt normal don't feel the same anymore. The same conversations feel different. The same environments feel different. Even certain goals can start to feel different. Not because something is wrong, but because something in you has changed. After a while, something in you just wants more. Not necessarily more money, not necessarily more attention, just more out of life, more purpose, more direction, more honesty about what actually matters to you. And once that feeling shows up, it's hard to ignore. Because when that hunger starts growing, settling becomes harder. Certain environments stop feeling right. Certain conversations stop feeling meaningful. Certain habits start feeling like they're holding you back. Not because you think you're better than anyone, but because you know there's more you're supposed to do with your time here. And one thing you start realizing is how much your environment matters. Who you're around, what you're constantly hearing, what kind of energy surrounds you every day. Because the wrong environment can slowly convince you that settling is normal. But when that hunger is real, you start looking for environments that reflect where you're trying to go. Sometimes life reaches a strange point where someone can look around and realize they've come further than they've ever been before. They've learned more, handled more, grown in ways they've once thought were impossible. And yet, at the same time, things around them start falling apart. Situations change. Certain things stop working the way they used to. And it creates a confusing feeling. Because progress was supposed to make things easier. But sometimes, it doesn't look that way at first. Moments like that can feel frustrating. Because from the outside, it may look like things are getting worse. Plans stop working. Things that once felt stable start shifting. Pieces that once held everything together no longer sit where they used to. But breakdowns don't always mean failure. Sometimes they're clearing space. Life has a way of removing things before something new takes shape. Not as punishment, but as preparation. Certain structures can't stay the same forever. Certain directions eventually reach their limit. And when that happens, life begins opening space for something different. During that process, there's often a quiet buildup happening, where things don't fully make sense yet, where the next direction hasn't completely revealed itself, but something underneath the surface is preparing for the next move, not loudly, just steady. While that quiet buildup is happening, life is still moving. There are still responsibilities, still things that need your attention, still things that require your discipline. So even while everything feels uncertain, you keep showing up, handling what needs to be handled, taking care of what's in front of you, one day at a time. Because sometimes that's all you can do. Just hold the line, stay consistent, stay disciplined. Not because everything is clear, but because that's the only way forward while things are still unfolding. Eventually, something starts becoming clear. You realize you've been trying to hold everything together, trying to keep the same structure running, trying to make everything continue the way it always has. But some structures aren't always meant to last forever. Sometimes the moment right before a reset looks exactly like that. Things feel unstable. Certain parts of life stop holding the same way they used to. And that's when you realize something new is about to begin. A blank state isn't the end. It's the beginning of a new layout, a new structure, a new direction. And what happens next depends on what you choose to build. Before I wrap this up, I just want to say something real for a moment. If you've been here listening throughout this season, I appreciate you. Whether you've been here since the beginning or you just found this podcast recently, the fact that you take time out of your day to listen means something. Season 3 had a lot of different conversations. Some serious ones, some reflective ones, some uncomfortable ones. But that's life. Life isn't just one emotion. It isn't just good or bad moments. It's both. There are going to be some ups. There are going to be some downs. There are going to be moments where things make perfect sense, and other moments where nothing seems clear at all. And that's normal. That's part of the experience of being here. The important thing is continuing to move forward through it, learning from the moments that challenge you, appreciating the moments that bring peace, and understanding that every season of life is temporary. The good moments pass, but the difficult ones do too. Nothing stays the same forever. And sometimes the shifts we don't understand in the moment end up making sense later. As for season 4, honestly, I'm not completely sure what it's going to look like yet. And that's okay. Sometimes the next direction reveals itself as you continue to move forward. So we'll see where the conversations go. We'll see what comes up. And we'll figure it out together. But for now, this is the end of season 3. Thank you for being here. And I'll see you in season 4. Sometimes life resets without warning. And when it does, you don't always know what comes next. But that's part of the journey. So, for now, the page is blank. And season 4 is waiting to be written. I hope you found something worth taking with you today. Maybe a new perspective. Maybe a moment to pause and reflect. Thank you for being here and sharing this space with me. Your presence matters. If this resonated with you, share it with someone you care about because growth spreads through connection. I'll see you next time. Take care of yourself. Stay grounded. And as always, be safe.